to turn this damn thing on again. Even though I try to like do it every day.
I love it. It's like a brand new experience for you every day, keeping the magic alive.
Of course. I've got to do
All
something.
right. I'm going in aggressive.
Uh-oh.
So, because we
Calm
were having a
down.
really good
What?
conversation this
No, no,
morning,
no.
and I was like, no, we should save this for the stream. We're not allowed to talk about board games anymore, babe,
Uh,
unless we're streaming.
what's that
Because like,
saying? Calm your tits. You know that meme where it's got like
yeah.
that girl and it's like they're waving and stuff? Like, it's so funny. Anyway. I laugh at
Yeah,
memes.
someone said once like I don't know, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something about going off like a mad woman's tits or something, and that's what I imagined in my head, like these boobs that were going in the different directions. And anyway, why are we talking about that?
So easy. Not so aggressive
What
now.
just happened?
I derailed
Can
you.
we start again? Let's
Yeah.
start again. No. So
So as
what
soon
I
as we
was
go to
gonna say,
tits.
what I was gonna say was, you were all like, oh, I don't play 20-minute games. I don't play 20-minute games. I'd rather
I
just
don't
talk.
I don't like them. Yeah, I don't like them that much.
Lies. So, what about Triumph versus Victory or whatever it is? Victory. I never
That's
remember.
not a 20-minute game. That game takes an
It took me
hour.
15. It took me 15 minutes to destroy Kerry the other day.
Yeah, that's Carrie's fault, not mine. If we played, it would take at least an hour. I wouldn't let you just win. At least, well, maybe
Yeah.
once, maybe once.
It
But if
really
it was your
depends, right? It really
if it was your
depends. It can
birthday,
be
yeah,
quick. If it was my birthday, you're letting me win.
yeah,
No, because the contracts, like if you get 8 contracts that are all like brass, or cotton, or like something that's just like the first the first tier of production,
hmm.
then it's going to be pretty quick.
So
Like if you,
why did she let you win? Was she just trying to build stuff, or is she trying to do it with points and stuff that's not on contract, or what? Like, I don't get
she
it.
she was just having a good time. I don't know what she was doing. No,
You know, you're playing a game here. You're supposed to win.
yeah, like I think one of the contracts in the middle was tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she kind of thought, oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll go for that. She was trying to do some crazy point scoring stuff, like get the products that get you a lot of points and move them around and just hold, like just store. You could just store products. You could just make stuff
Yeah.
and store it for
Right.
points, right? So I think she was kind of thinking, I'll do that, and then Sarah's going to have to do all of the work to get the contracts. And then she got brass, which stopped me from getting one of the easy contracts I couldn't get because she took that one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she thought, oh, I might be safe here. But then she wasn't, because there was enough fairly easy contracts for me to get the 5, store up 2 loads of each of everything, right? And then
Right.
take the 5 contracts and then be able to pay for them. And she said that, like I said to her, did you know that I was close to finishing it? Like, were you concentrating? I don't think she was really looking too hard at my stuff, and she probably should have been. But she did actually admit that she knew I was getting fairly close to finishing the game.
So,
I
like,
think
okay,
you probably could do it.
that's not a 15-minute game. Like, you came in hot with the game that's not 15 minutes. It's not supposed to be.
It might not supposed to be, but it was. It was.
The 2 times we played, it was an hour experience, I think. Well, the first time was an
Probably,
hour.
maybe.
The second one maybe 45 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, like if it's the right game, 20 minutes is okay. But in general, 20-minute games are just so lackluster for me. Usually, I'd rather talk. Like, okay, so we could play. Let's say we have an hour. We pull out Love Letter and we start playing.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times, I'm done. Like, let's just talk. Like
What about talking and playing? You ever done that before, or is that like?
That's
Is that
like
too
walking
much?
and chewing bubble gum. No, that's not gonna work. I'll fall over.
You've never done that?
No, I don't. I don't do that. If I'm gonna chew gum, I park the car to the side with the old people that are talking on the cell phones.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
park there and I'm chew gum and just wait till I'm done chewing gum to get out of the car and take off.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. Like, okay, so if you're both, let's say if two people are just like me and you are just talking and we're playing Love Letter like half-ass,
Yeah.
one of those is gonna be half-ass, and
One of them will suffer.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if we're gonna play a game half-ass, let's not play the game.
Maybe both of them will suffer. We'll have a half-assed conversation and a half-assed game.
Yeah, I'd rather just have a half-ass game than just shut your
Without
mouth.
talking.
Yeah, just shut your mouth and we'll just play half-ass. We'll think about other stuff that's not that has anything that we'll just like social media and we'll just cut half-ass play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay. So any more? Any more of these hot topics?
Yeah, yeah.
20 minutes.
Why don't you like? Yeah. While I'm being aggressive, why don't you like raw? What's your problem?
There's not enough tension. There's not enough tension. I don't know. It's just an old school design, and us for some reason us old people don't like it. I mean, us old people. My group.
You're too old for the old school design.
I don't know. Okay. So the first time we played it, we're like, well, is that all? Because there was a lot of hype at the time, and that's like old hype. It's not like hype is now, but our friends were talking about Raw, and they were like saying it was this really cool game. So we got it, and too much hype. It wasn't amazing.
What's the difference between old hype and new hype? How has hype changed?
Okay, so then it was just we were at the infancy of the internet, so there was no Kickstarter. You youngins get to do Kickstarter. There was not a community. There was a local game store, and everything you knew was basically you could pick up a magazine called Game Magazine, and that Game Magazine, all it had mostly was crossword puzzles in it, and every once in a while they would highlight board games, and they would highlight games that made it to Essence Spiel, but I mean they were very foreign at the time, so we didn't have anything, so we just heard through word of mouth, through friends and whatnot, people that went to role-playing conventions, and when they would talk about it and stuff. And then I think we went to a convention, it was mostly role-playing, and they had a few German board games, and Raw was there, and people were talking about it, how it was so good, and so we got a copy, and we ended up playing it, and wanted to throw it away immediately. But
we're like, this is just set collection, stupid tiles, don't like it. Curmudgeon.
Gabriel called me older than dirt.
That's funny.
Pretty old, definitely. Pretty old. I don't know. There's not enough conflict in Raw, and we like games with conflict. It doesn't feel like conflict. It's bidding, and it's not the kind of bidding that like I fuck you out of points immediately. It's like this,
but
collection.
but it's cool when I thought you would like it, like just putting like bidding when someone doesn't want you to bid because they want to get more stuff, and you're like, or like that they want it, and they're going to bid real high and get rid of their bidding stuff, and then like you're trying to be in the round the longest, right? So you got the most choice, but then you've also got the push your luck element, because the longer you're in, the more little raw tiles are going to come out and potentially just screw you up, and you lose everything.
You're selling me on the game, and then when I sit down and play Raw, none of that shit's happening.
What? Maybe you just didn't play it right. It's a you problem.
Maybe it is a me problem. It's a me problem. It's a Lyndon problem. It's a Brian problem. All of us are like, we don't get this game. It's too simple. I don't know. It's if what you said was true, okay.
Which it is.
Okay, so it has to be.
Tell lies.
It needs to be a bigger deal. I need to be able to the conflict isn't high enough. The stakes aren't high enough.
Interesting.
Yeah. I need you to be utterly screwed.
There's not enough tears, right?
What we call it is deep dick. There's no deep dick in it. Like there's a little dick.
Maybe you just didn't play it enough to get like the meta and try to screw people over enough.
You're probably right
in your games.
But the juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's like, how much squeezing do you want to get out of this grape? It's only 45 minutes. It's not hardcore. There's not like lots and lots of thought. It's not. If I'm going to put 45 minutes into it, I'd rather play something else that is a little bit crunchier.
Okay,
this grape shit.
So why isn't there like a heavy Euro that just finishes after 20 minutes? Do you think?
Because goes against the word heavy.
No, not necessarily. What if you have a really heavy game,
It
but
usually
it
means
ends
deep.
after yeah, but you can have deep and only go for 20 minutes. Like, what about the first, like, let's say you sat down and played On Mars and then someone just set a timer for 20 minutes and then you had to end it there. You're still playing a really deep, heavy game, but you only played for 20 minutes. Why isn't there games that are that complex for that long? Because
Okay,
people it would just
on
be
your
so
first problem,
unsatisfying.
no, on your first problem is Mars is only good because your strategies compound. You make a strategy for this, and then it compounds to this. It's an ongoing build up. Like in music, a crescendo. It is, you've got this build up of strategy. 20 minutes is not enough time to build up that strategy.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying you can't have a deep game that's 20 minutes, but I don't
Right.
know if you could
You
call it
did kind
heavy.
of say that. You did kind of say that. You alluded
I said
to
you
that.
can't have a heavy game 20 minutes. You can have a deep game would be different.
But
Like,
wouldn't it be kind of fun to see just how much you could actually do in On Mars in 20 minutes? I don't think you'd do very much.
no, you wouldn't do it. I'll take a turn. Done. Depending on who you're playing with. Um. Okay, so I guess the problem is, let's just say a short game. Let's say a short game between 10 and 30 minutes. So that's not a timed game. You
Mm.
can probably have a deep experience, and they're called trick taking games.
Oh, here we go.
Other than that, like dominoes, trick taking games, anything that has to do with quick number, quick pattern recognition, other stuff that takes like board positioning and stuff like that, it's hard to, like, the amount of time it takes impacts the amount of heaviness you perceive.
Right.
Like 18xx, really, a lot of them aren't that heavy, but they take
Mm.
fucking forever. So, and your decisions that you make now, you don't see the implementation of your strategy until like 5 turns, which is 3 hours later. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
and
it's
so
not, they're not deep, you're just in deep.
you're in very deep.
You're in
Very,
deep.
right, and the strategy process is very opaque, so it's hard to see what you're actually doing sometimes. With then you don't have a whole lot of experience playing them. Then you definitely don't know what you're doing, and you won't find out because it takes 2 hours to figure out what you just did, what became of it. But I mean, I guess there could be games that you just have to. I'm sure. I wish we had people say, no, 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 so and so game is deep, and it's only 20 minutes.
Yeah, what about something like, oh, I don't know, you're going to say all these aren't deep, but like something like Battle Line or something. I like playing that.
I
It's only
like
20
playing
minutes.
it. Deep,
It's
I
not
don't
super
know.
deep. Maybe it's not
Yeah.
super deep though. Yeah.
There's some bidding games that are sort of deep. Uh, how long does the estates usually last? That's pretty deep.
Oh man, that game. That's horrible. No, that's like an hour. That's got to be an hour. That game,
Well, then it gets
surely.
it gets lumped up with a lot of other games that take an hour.
Right, right. The estates. Oh my gosh. You have to. All right, tell me about the estates. Your experience with it. I want to know.
Okay, so I was shown the Nude back a while ago, and I
Hmm.
was told it was amazing,
Hmm.
and we played it, and we played like 3 games of it, and 2 games were really good, and one really sucked because it's kind
Right.
of it's kind of swingy. If it doesn't get off to a good start, it's a little funky, but
Yeah.
good games of it are so fucking good.
Hmm.
Bad games of it are just like, meh, this is all right.
How can it get funky? Because people don't get the economy of it. And
Yeah, yeah. If you have someone in there with randomizing the economy, it doesn't. Since it's a bidding game and it has to do with price assessment, sort of,
mm,
and assessing, I guess, the worth of things. If somebody's in there just randomly doesn't understand and they just keep fucking up all the prices, then it's really hard to do well, and so it just kind of screws your score up because it's not a accurate. Because you're playing the players, not really the game. And
right,
so if you have one wacky player, it's all whacked out.
just doing stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
really need to have a lot of people on board, And that's worth taking a couple of practice rounds when you're teaching, and it's really good to explain a lot of things and talk about strategy. That's one that I would actually want to do that with somebody, because I usually don't like doing that, but that's definitely one, because your whole experience is based on how other people perceive the game.
Right, because I've only played it. I think I've only played it like once, and so yeah, it's really just the first time you're just trying to get a feel for
What?
it. And
What am
yeah,
I
it's like,
doing?
huh? Yeah.
Why was that? Why did that happen? Why did this
Why
get
did
good like
that
that?
happen? People are doing dumb things.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just that like controlling the end of the game, I guess. And
yeah. There is that too.
I can't even remember how it ends specifically. It's like when one of the
I don't
building
remember.
rows is like filled up or something crazy like that, and it can just escalate really quickly, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember how it ends. It's been forever since I've played. It's been at least 3 years.
All right.
Um, I think I don't know this for sure, but this was back, heavy cardboard days. Back when Ed and Tony were doing it. I think that's where Clay heard about it. And I don't know. Newt Hymet was making the rounds, so we were playing it and really into it, and then he got the rights and made the estates. So I haven't played the estates very many times. Maybe at
Yeah.
one con, and somebody totally screwed that up. So everybody was
Right.
at the right spot.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense now. Like, you don't like Raw, you like the estates. Like, that one is way more deep dickage than Raw, I think.
Yeah, it's not
Obvious
the
dickage, not
yeah
sneaky dickage. Yeah.
yeah. You don't want to be sneaky dicked. You want to be hard dicked.
Oh dear. Yeah, so that one, I guess I would like to play that again. Actually,
Yeah,
I would really like to try that again and try and figure out, I don't know, how to win that. I think it's by tucking money. Every
I lo-
turn, just tuck some money away.
yeah. You definitely need to. Gabriel's last emoji was pretty damn funny with the deep
Is
dick.
it? Is it
Yeah,
like
it's
I'm
a
guessing
horrible face.
eggplants? Oh,
No,
like what? Why is Mo saying these things? Oh dear. Yeah, so we should try that sometime, because I know that you say like you're good at like playing the players, and I could probably
I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that.
uh the secrets are being
You're putting this
revealed.
shit online. What the fuck? You better shut your mouth.
Hey,
Talk about something.
this was your idea to do it live, okay? So you can't edit any of the stuff out. I can say whatever I want.
Uh,
Oh no.
yeah, I also believe there's like a hole in the middle of what Antarctica and stuff like that. So I wouldn't believe all the things that you hear
The
that
earth
I
is
believe.
flat and
Yeah, yeah. I'm a flat earther and birds aren't real and all that shit.
Yeah, I need a bit of that though, I think. Like, I was way too nice we played John Company, and I was way too nice, and I think I just like we just co-opted too much, you know? We were
Right.
too nice to each other. We didn't really use those favor cards very much because they were just too scary to even have out there for us. We're like, no, we can just be nice and it's fine.
Well, a game like John and Company, you really need to play have the same players play it like 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
and then you can really unlock the games. Kind of like I was mentioning, like Feudum. Feudum is so good. You need a dedicated group, and there's so
Mm.
many games. It's like you're not going to get a dedicated group. Like, might as well just sell Feudum to someone who can play it more.
Sell Feudum today.
Yeah, sell
That's
it.
the message of this podcast.
Yeah, like Lyndon owned everything, and
Yeah.
we saw the amazingness of it, and we're like, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. It's not a top 10 game for us,
Yeah.
but it's really good. And if we're gonna, if you give me the choice to pick a game, I'm gonna pick Age of Steam or an 18XX or something like that. I'm not gonna pick Feudum, and really need someone who loved it enough to pick it all the time. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
like what was the other Cole Worley game? The leader game,
Oath, right?
Oath. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oath was okay, but around we played it all day, which I made our group play it all day, and then we actually started seeing how interesting of a game it was.
Yeah.
But then by the end of the day, I was like, this isn't going to happen again. This is,
Yeah.
we're done. We're
Yeah,
done.
it's
We're
a bit
not.
of a shame. We had a similar thing. Like you need everyone has to be the same amount of enthused about it. Like, and that didn't happen. There was a couple of us that really wanted to try it again, and then a couple of us went, and you just can't do it. Like you said, you've got to really commit
Yeah,
to it and be
and
super excited.
it's almost impossible if you're in like on the pulse of the scene to be committed because there's so many other like games that are coming out, and each game is developed on the last game's back, and you have all this new technology for mechanics and stuff, so it's really hard to stick with the same games. They have to be exceptional. They have to be top 10 games. And the way games are made now, because they don't hit the table very often, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of top 10 games. They have to go completely against the grain, and a game that like aggravates people, aggravates some and some love it. Those are the games that make it to my top 10. Like, except for like Eclipse on my top 10. That's probably one of the few games that a lot of people can like. But like
Yeah.
the Diplomacy's on my top 10. It is my number one. And there's so much hate for Diplomacy. So, like, people hate it. They've never played it. They always say the same shit. Like, if you don't want to have any friends, you can play Diplomacy. And I was like, it's because you have shitty friends. Like, who doesn't know how to play a game and like, backstab each other? That's the point of the game. How can you not like go drink a beer
Yeah.
afterward, and just be cool? Like, if someone's gonna get
Yeah.
hurt over that, well, I got other ways to butt hurt you. A lot easier. Won't take 6 hours. I'll just
Yeah,
betray
you
you
need-
some other way.
Need less sensitive friends for that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing too. Like you say, there's so many games, and like the first time you play something like that, like John Company or even Oath, is like the game is already mean enough. You already feel like the game is going to be mean enough to you, especially John Company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really hard to even stay afloat, like keep the company afloat, and then you've got like all those storms that like all this terrible stuff happening, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think that there's like an element, there's all of you like trying to not get screwed over by the game, and so you're co-oping way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the thing that I really want to see develop is how much do we want to, like every time you play it, you're going to push it a little bit further and further and further and see what you can get away with
Right. Right.
without breaking the entire company.
Right. Yeah, it's a damn shame that like I wish I had a group that would play that often. That would be cool. That'd be a good one.
Yeah. I much preferred it to Oath. It was like, it was so scary. Like you get you retire those people and you get like few points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't even know if you're going to hold on to it
Right. Right.
even after all that. It's crazy.
You need to play some PAX games because I think
Yeah.
you'll those fall right in between the two. I think in style, especially the cold early versions.
I've done that classic gamer thing of like buying a couple of PAX
Yeah.
games, and then of course I haven't played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that brings us. So, do you have any more? Because I have something.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Okay. So I've been thinking.
Since you're
about
not going
this.
to give us your tips on how to play the players, tell us
Uh,
something else.
have weaker players. That's that's the best thing to do. Get friends that say they're not very good at negotiation. That's the thing to do. Like, you're my friend now. You're not very good at
I
negotiating.
am that person. I am that person that people are friending because I'm bad at negotiation.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay,
That's
so
why we're together, isn't it, babe?
yeah, I can't be with someone who's good at negotiation. You have two people fighting over stuff all the time. Okay, so I was looking at prices of games, and there's a game that came out a while back called it's IKI, I think Iki or something like that. It's a Japanese game. Okay,
Yeah, I've
like
seen
a
it.
Japanese themed game. So
Yep.
it came out a while back, and then they recently did another Kickstarter for it, which was like a deluxe version. Anyway, somebody was selling the deluxe version, new and shrink, for $25.
Right.
And they beat me to it. Okay, so I was thinking about like how crazy board gamers are about price, and like to me, it's just crazy. Like, okay, so a game might be valued at $50, and then like let's say it's all sold out, and then the market goes up. Let's say it's $75, and then the market goes up again, and it's like $100. Like, when I buy a game and I'm trying to value what, this is worth $50 or $100, ultimately it gets played once or twice and puts put on the shelf. With a $100 game that gets put on the shelf, which with another $200 game that gets put on the shelf and never played again. So
Shame on you.
yeah, these games are stuck on the shelf. Some of them are worth more than others. The secondary market for these games that were worth a lot at one time sometimes totally crashes. So the value of the games is just like it's just this monkey brain BS, because it's like if you're going to put it on the shelf and you don't sell any of your games, and you're just going to say, okay, so this game, because it has all these shiny bits that I'm never going to look at, is worth $200, and I'm just going to put it on the shelf. What was the point? Why are you saying that this other game that's $50 isn't worth, another $25? Like it's usually a difference in like $25 between whether a person's going to buy a game or not. Like the people's complain about like Spielworks games, okay?
Yeah.
Like when you buy a Spielworks game and you're going to spend spend the premium price, it's going to go on the shelf and not be played more than likely. Anyway, what does it matter? What does it really, really matter when you sit there and think about it? When you look at all these games and you start pricing them in your head and you're not selling them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. Like, so Dice Quest, or was it called Dice Quest?
Dice Throne?
No, not Dice Throne. The
No?
one that,
Dice Realms.
Dice Realms. Yeah, Dice Realms. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's $100 game, and I'm thinking about it to myself. I don't think I want to spend $100 on a dice game.
Yeah.
Lyndon bought it. He spent the $100. We played it once. It's in there on the table, getting ready to go to the shelf. It might get played
It's getting ready to go to the shelf.
So it might get to be played a couple more times, maybe.
That's like the saddest thing ever, by the way. It's getting
What?
ready to go to the shelf. It's like it's going to board game heaven soon.
It's more like board game purgatory.
Yeah.
Like it just gets stuck on a shelf. It didn't matter if the game was $200. It didn't matter if it was $500. It didn't matter if it was $50. It's on the shelf. Is it good enough to keep is the next question. And then the next question is, if you're going to resell it, how big of a knock are you going to take? How big is the market? It's just a bunch of BS, if you ask me. I mean, I might be thinking about this completely wrong.
No, I think you and I probably think the same way. And
go to the
that
shelf.
way is just stick them all on the shelf. No. That really the value is how often you're going to play it. And
it should be the value.
Right.
It
And it doesn't matter what it looks like. So you can get a splatter game that, people will argue that doesn't look so great.
Yeah, Food Chain looks
Food Chain is always
like clip art, which is like so BS. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it looks all right, but that's me. So, like there's that whole thing. And then there's also humans like shiny stuff. We're like magpies. We like collecting stuff. That's just biology, right? Really. So I think that trips people up. And so they then they're like, oh, the splatter game, which looks terrible, is $200. And this other game, look at the giant box with all the plastic minis in it. This is also $200. This is better value. It's just, you can't not see that. Like you can't. It's their eyeballs. They're thinking about it with their eyeballs. They're not thinking about it like in terms of how often they're actually going to play it. And they want to believe it. They want to believe that it's going to be a really amazing design because look how much they thought about the production. But it's like, no, I think they thought too much about the production and not enough about the design, potentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
everyone just needs a Linden to buy all the games and then they can play them.
You can hang out with them and play them. Yeah. That's what Gabriel was saying. There's nobody out there that plays games that he's found in Lafayette, which
that's a bummer.
That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to find a Linden.
Yeah, everybody needs a Linden.
Everyone needs
in fact, okay, so you remember when I told you, okay, so I'll continue with this price thing in a moment, but you remember a while ago when I told you, hey, I'm going to put you on speaker?
Yeah.
I texted Lyndon and said, hey, man, are you interested in Twilight Imperium, the Roll and Write, because it's on Miniature
Right.
Market, and if you're
Yeah.
not, let me know and I'll think about it. And he's like, no, he's
Right.
interested, so he's gonna buy it. So like, it's just
Yeah, it's too easy for you, right? It's way
yeah,
too
just like,
easy for
hey
you.
man, let's try it.
Yeah.
Because he said yeah, he's interested. He just hadn't thought about it lately. Like
Yeah.
he didn't know it
You're
was you could
enabling.
buy
You're
it. Yeah,
using.
yeah.
You're taking advantage.
I'm taking advantage of the fact that I'm just pointing out something he already wanted.
Oh, come on. You just said he wasn't even thinking about it.
No,
He
no, he
wasn't
was
thinking
thinking
about
about
it
it.
at the. Okay.
He wasn't
But
thinking
it
about
wasn't at the forefront of his mind
right. He
until.
wasn't thinking it's in the market right now. I could buy it.
Right. You just gave him that little final nudge.
Yeah, I was just telling him, hey, by the way, no, I was just gonna suggest that like since I liked Hadrian's Wall, I might like Twilight Imperium, and that might be one that I would consider buying since I don't buy a whole lot of games if he's not gonna buy it. But he's like he wants to get it, so I don't have to buy it.
Lucky. Yeah, you gave me such a hard time the other day when you told me that Dice Realms was okay, and I was like, oh, now I want to buy it. And you were
But
like,
it's just okay. It's
no.
just okay.
Fine.
No, you should
Okay.
play it definitely. But like,
Yeah.
okay, so the price, like, I've decided the price doesn't matter. The price freaking doesn't matter. Like, I've bought old games through Miniature Market. I mean, not through the board game, the BGG market, and
Yeah.
I've way overspent for them.
Mm.
But those games I actually value. Those are games that I was looking for and I put on the shelf, and like, it doesn't matter to me what I spent on them. But ultimately, the price doesn't matter because I'm not going to sell the games. They're just going to be on the shelf, so it doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
you know? And your thing about like value, I guess that's trying to get away from looking at that value thing with new games. You know, the value is, yeah, will you and your friends have fun with it? How many times will you have fun with it? Is it a $50 experience?
Yeah.
You know, and when you when you compare it to like a night out drinking alcohol where you can buy 2 or 3 different games for what you drink, you're like, yeah,
Right.
well, at least you got it on the shelf, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people do as well. They justify it in that way as well. It's like board games generally, even if you only play it once and it's a 3-hour game and you took all that time to learn it and whatever, you've like entertained yourself for a day.
Yeah,
Congratulations. And it wasn't that, it wasn't that expensive. I
right,
mean,
because you can't.
I sort of don't really agree with you about like leaving things on the shelf because I don't want them to hang around if I'm not going to play them. Like eventually I'm going to be like, I'm just going to sell this. And then it's even easier to justify buying new games, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
then it's
you
like,
enable
oh,
yourself
well, I
even
paid
more.
100 for it, but then I sold it for 40. So it really was only $60 for a nice day.
And meanwhile, people are enjoying their day for free. They're like, I didn't spend any today, and I feel very
True.
happy.
Getting outside.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're strange. Yeah, I don't know. I really try and think about like how good is the game, and I do try and play before I buy them now, if I can,
yeah.
as much as possible. I try and do that. But occasionally when you don't have a Lyndon around, it's hard to find someone who has the game
Especially out there, out where you're at. It is
out there
out
in the
down
wilderness,
there in the
in the bush.
the upside down world that you live in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm really reevaluating the games that I've bought and really like just looking at the price and just thinking how ridiculous it's been that I've been looking at the value for. Is this game worth $50? Is this worth whatever? It's not. It doesn't matter. In the end, it doesn't really matter because it's. Can you afford it? Will you actually play it? How many times will you actually play it? That's what matters. Not the stupid value that like BGG says it's worth, or these are what they're going for in the market. Like I'm overpaying for this game or whatever. Or I'm underpaying. It doesn't matter. Like that Iki game, I would have jumped on the chance to own it because I really liked it, and
Oh, you played it?
yeah, I've played it like twice. I
Okay.
think Brian ordered it the first time it came out on Kickstarter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to grab a bargain if it's something you really want.
Yeah, $25.
If it,
Yeah.
if it comes up. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just it's too easy for it's really funny because like people will look at that, food chain magnate and go, no, it's $200, I'm not going to get it, knowing it's a good game, and then you've got this like gamble factor of like it's seriously, it's like gambling, right? It's like gambling. You go on Kickstarter
Your
and
eyes
there's
get
like,
all big when you say gambling. Do you
yeah,
have a gambling problem?
oh no, I hate gambling. I don't, I'm not into it. um but I think for people, that's the exciting part, is like, oh, it's going to be a big surprise, and this might just be the best game I've ever played, and then they
Yeah,
get it, and it's not.
that sold for me a long time ago. When I
Yeah,
decided, okay, so obviously these are my favorite games, and I thought maybe something would come along and beat them. It just hasn't happened, and so I'm like, no, it's not going to happen.
yeah. How often does your, like you were just saying before with the clip, like how often does your top 10 change? Because mine, it just doesn't change anymore. The
Very
older and more
static.
curmudgeony, the more curmudgeony I get,
It's
the less
very
likely
static.
it's going to. Yeah. It's
Again,
actually quite funny because part of the Board Game BBQ podcast, they want to do like the top 10 every year, how it's moved and changed and stuff. And it's like, for
uh
me, it's the same. It's the same every year. I had nothing to talk about.
um, yeah, a game has to be really different, and I think it's possible to get on my top 10, but not if you are following the current trends. It's not. I'm not going to play some half-ass game that's nice to everybody, and it's not going to make my top 10. Definitely not.
Yeah. I mean, there are games that come out that aren't nice to everybody.
Yeah, there's a few, but not. It's not the trend. The trend is not that. I wish it
Yeah.
were. I games were. I prefer games that are. I say that, but okay. So I prefer games that are completely different than what I've played. But
Yeah.
then just put 18x. Just give me another 18xx. That's just a little different, and I'm fine too.
Or a New Age of Steam map.
Yeah, New Age of Steam map. Oh, so fun. There's something beautiful about sitting down and say, okay, so here are the rules that changed. Let's go. Hell yeah, let's go.
Yes.
There's something beautiful about that. Like
Yeah.
these hour read teaches. I mean these rule readings, the hour that it takes to play a game. That's time you'll never get back, and you're not spending that time like fucking talking. You're listening, getting, trying to remember as much of this as possible. Sit down and play, and then realize you forgot half of what you needed to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like,
Understand halfway through. Go, oh, yeah.
oh,
And
and
then
then
never
take the,
played again. Never played
yeah,
again. Never actually.
and then take the person who read the rules. They read the rules. They took an hour learning the game, and then they took another hour to teach you. And then while you're playing, you had a bad experience. They got to reteach you how to play the game while you're playing. So that's 3 hours of their life gone.
Yeah. But I mean, that's part of like, okay, but part of what we love is learning new stuff. So let's not pretend like we don't love learning new rules. What? I'm serious.
New rules.
Part of learning a new game, you have to learn the rules to a new game. There's obviously something about that whole thing that we like. I know there is for me because that's the discovery of the game, and something like even something in the teach I might think about and go, oh, that's cool, that's going to
Yeah,
be awesome.
yeah, I guess so. But as a person who uploads a lot of information during the day into his brain, usually the game is like a game is usually the least amount of interesting thing that I had to upload if I had that day, unless it's what used to be a hungover Saturday or hungover Sunday, and it was the only thing I had in my brain that day.
Well, that would have to be the
Besides
day
that,
then. That's your
yeah,
rule learning
yeah,
day.
yeah, hungover brain hurt day.
Yeah.
You always say something about like you don't like. Oh, Gabriel had a question about diplomacy. What was it? I can't quite see
Oh
it.
well, that's a Mo question because I haven't played it. I did buy it though, by the way. There was an auction.
Uh
There was
huh.
an auction, and I bought it for like $10, and it's like the original.
Wooden
I think it's
pieces and all
Avalon
that.
Hill, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really old. The box is falling apart, but it looks super cool.
Yeah, I've got a 50s version with wooden pieces that's like really, really old. I don't know if I've never seen a $200 version of Diplomacy, and I found mine at an estate sale for really cheap. You can usually get one really, really cheap, and they've got one with plastic pieces that you can get really cheap. So it's not too bad of a game to get. And you basically, if you're gonna play with like 5 people, just buy get or 6 people, get one of the 6 people to buy it. You're good.
Yeah. This is the thing that's what I was going to say about the pricing too. Is like I always I feel like I'm the only person that ever mentions, like when I'm talking about it, a game. When I'm talking about a game, I'm like the only person that mentions the price of it. And then I
Mm.
just think maybe people just don't care. Like they would just be like, whatever, it's however many $100, I don't care. Just throw money
Uh,
at it.
they only care when it's ugly. Food Chain's the only one that made people upset. Where I'm not gonna
Make
spend.
people upset.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
don't like. There were so many people saying I don't want to spend, or in America, $125 or $100 on the game, and I was like, this game is actually worth that price and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until they put it online, and now everybody's got the same broken strategy, and now I'm like, it's not really worth $100 because everybody plays the same. You need a
Oh
group that
no,
like
I don't
doesn't
know
play.
what the same. I don't know what that is.
Good, then we should
Yeah, I
play
mean
because
that's awesome.
if to stay out of the meta because it's really cool.
Yeah. See, this is like that's another win for like not looking up strategy guides, because you
Yeah,
can't have a game totally ruined for you until you figure it out and ruin it for
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, exactly. I ruin everything myself. I'm good at ruining stuff. That's what I do. No, you always talk about like not being into like a single player game, not really like playing alone or solo games or whatever, and then you make
Yeah,
oaths to
it's
do
hard.
solo games and you don't do them. And
Yeah, or I do them and then I go like it was my. It's easy to do, right? Because then I'm only relying on myself to do it. But then I realize it's not that easy to do, because I sit at the table and I try and play something solo, and then I get distracted. I just start messaging you, or go on Facebook or something, and then like 15 minutes later I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be playing this game by myself. I don't know, it's just not that fun. I don't know, it really isn't that fun. Like when we remember when we both tried the solo map for Age of Steam, and we were like
hmm
comparing, that was at least something, because I could compare the score with you and be like, I got this, and then you try it. But it was also like really sad. It's like, look at this sad long distance relationship where we can't play Age of Steam together. I have to play it solo, and then you play it solo, and then we compare scores.
oh,
Oh
Gabriel
man,
was
that's
saying
so
something.
sad.
Do you have your messenger up? I think he was. Let's see.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the way. That's the way a lot of us see it. But
Yeah.
there's such a blurry line between when you first start collecting game. I mean, buying games and then collecting games. That moment when you start collecting games, that's where everything goes to shit. Everything goes to shit. Collecting
Yeah.
games.
You ruin your idea of value for sure. And even the same with, like, there's people that are literally just buying games just to sell them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hopefully
Or
sell them for more and crazy stuff like that.
and that gives you also that weird thing you were talking about where you justify buying it because you know you can sell it. Like so you spend $250, hold it, and then sell it for another extra $50. And so some people do, or wait until the market crashes, and then you'll sell it for way less.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like the whole Kickstarter thing. It's like,
Yeah,
just sell it just before, like just as it arrives, before it's in retail, sell it then, and
yeah.
sell it for more than you
Sell it
paid.
fast before people find out they don't like it. Sell it while
Yeah.
it's hot.
Yeah. No, I
Oh,
do agree, Gabriel, for sure. Like I would, like the only reason I haven't bought Food Chain Magnate is because I just don't think that I'm going to play it that much. I love the game. I don't care that it's $200. I would totally buy it if I was going to play it. I just
if
don't
I
think
was
that
there, we would
my
play it.
friends want to play it. Yeah, yeah. We would play it with
Yeah.
people, but like the group I play with now don't really like that. Like Kerry would find that just too mean, and she wouldn't be
Yep.
into it. So,
She would probably like the catch up expansion thing because it kind of fucks with all that shit, which I don't like it. But
does it? I don't remember. I don't think I've played with everything, because it's like modules, isn't it? Is
yeah.
it modules?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I only play, like I played with the different milestones and stuff, but I don't remember
But
anything that made it nicer.
well, by adding more foods, by food categories, it's much harder to.
Oh yeah, broadening out. It's harder
Yeah,
to compete, get
yeah,
competitive, and screw
right.
people over and steal their business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
that makes sense.
Oh, the thing I was going to bring up with about the dollar stuff, I mean, the playing alone. If, okay, so this is what if there's an AI that, as AI gets better and whatever, that could learn the game, like maybe someone would take the time to teach the game to the AI, and then it would be in the AI database. And so all the AI would do is play the game. Like you could play alone, or you could play with the AI, and the AI would just tell you the move that it's going to make. So you're playing food chain. You add two AIs. You're making all the moves, but the bots will tell you, okay, so we'll do this. The other bot says, we'll do that, and then you just play against that. Would you still find that not fun if you
Mm,
had AI bots
I'd
that
be
were?
more. I'd be more inclined to just play it as an app thing. Like then it takes away the having to set it up on the table. I mean, a lot of it is having to set it up on the table and push things around when you don't really
You don't
need to
want to
be
do
there
that?
physically. Yeah, I don't really want
Hmm.
to do that.
Maybe there's something about the tactile part that I like. I like setting up games, especially if I'm like learning a game. I'll set it up.
Mm.
If I'm playing solo, I want to set it up. Apps for me are just so impersonal
Mm.
that I'm like, usually an app has to be really good for me to want to
But
play
the
it.
but the AI you're talking about would be via an app, right? As well, like the AI
I
would,
guess it would be, but it would only
unless you get
tell
a
you.
real doll. Like that's the perfect relationship, right? Get a
Yeah,
real doll
yeah.
that can play board games.
Would it tell you out its mouth what moves to make,
Tell you how to spell.
or would it just have speakers?
I
Because if you
know.
got a,
I
if you have
think
a
they have
real
speakers,
doll,
but I think they have
if
speakers
you have
in
a
their
real
mouths.
doll, do you have to like, that's the same love making mouth. So that's
Making
you.
mouth. Is there a different mouth for the board gaming thing?
Yeah, because like, do you get to change out its mouth for the like? I don't want that disgusting doll.
Get those board game moves out of your dirty mouth.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
So like, let's say you want to play a 3-player game. It's a 3-player specific game. A friend comes over. You have to pull out the real doll, so that you're playing the 3-player game
That
with
would
your
be
real
awkward
doll.
just in itself. That would be really awkward.
Not everybody in
Like
this
playing with your
scenario.
friend and the
The awkward. You bring out the real doll. It would be one of those things like you would have to have like you need to wrap that doll in like plastic or something. We're gonna play with the doll at the table.
Oh my god.
So,
You have like the board game. You know how some people have like the rules in their board game room for like
yeah.
what's allowed in the board, like no food and drink, da, 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 no
No,
like wrap
no
up
real
your
slips.
real doll in glad
Yeah,
wrap.
yeah. If it's gonna touch my board games, better be wrapped up because you need like a body condom on that thing because I don't know what you've
That's
done with
so
it.
messed up. When I share this is definitely going to be like the first thing that I say when we talked about playing
Real
board games
dolls.
with your real doll. Yeah.
No, like okay, so as AI gets better, at some point it's going to be able like to learn a game. It's going to start with abstract games probably, and
Yeah.
it'll be able to learn an abstract game from scratch. You'll teach the abstract game somehow, or someone will teach it. You'll go to sleep and it'll play itself 100 times, and you'll play it the
Oh
next
no,
day,
no,
and
no, no! It can't do that. It would be way too good if it did that.
well, yeah, but then you stick it on medium. Like you don't make it play at its full capacity. You have to stick it on medium. Because otherwise, you play it the first time, it's going to be like playing an infant. It's going to totally fucking suck. You need it to play
Right.
somewhat better. And then you would play, you could play a game against an AI, a real game against
Yeah.
an AI that's on a computer or on your phone telling you what moves to make, you know.
Yeah.
I
I
would
just think if
totally
you're
go
gonna have
for
an
it.
app already, I just think if you're gonna have an app already, why not just have the entire game on the app? That's the thing.
Yeah, but okay,
Don't know.
so the problem is it'd be easier to make one AI that can learn multiple games than it will be for all these jackasses to build all these games.
Yeah. All
'Cause-
these jackasses.
What? I need
Yeah.
jackasses to make a bunch of apps of GMT games, and that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Oh.
Like, I would play shit tons of
Yeah.
these war games. Now, if I had
Yeah.
an AI that could learn them, that would be the shit. Or someone already taught him, and I could just, okay, so here's the AI that knows how to play whatever, and then I could get it for free, or maybe it's a subscription model. I would totally be down. I would fucking so be down.
Mm,
Or
mm.
let's say if you had a, okay, so role playing, not the real doll kind, the Dungeons and Dragons kind. If you had a DM that was dynamic, that was an AI that could adjust to your group, it would totally be worth having one.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be
And
cool.
yeah, it would be cool. And then a bunch of people would make it like really hot and like extra sexy. I'll do anything you say, mistress.
Yeah, actually, this is not a bad idea. Like, the whole, like, I don't know how many times I played a game that was just not optimally for two players, and we were stuck. We had two players only. Just
Right.
throw in an AI as the third player. That'd be awesome.
So,
That'd be so good.
yeah, and it could tell you its moves and shit, and you would just do the moves for it. You get your
Yeah.
little sex doll, and then you move its little arm to pick up meatballs.
Imagine an inflatable one, like trying to move the pieces.
Oh man, you would be like, if you're gonna have like an inflatable sheep one.
Hey, I'm Australian, not Kiwi. May I have those?
I forgot that joke you guys have going, but yeah, like I think an AI that could learn anything, just about anything, or people that would actually take the time to make the AIs learn it, because there's so many geeks in our culture, it should be possible at some point.
Right.
And
What are all
I
these
would
geeks
pay
doing? Why aren't they?
yeah, why aren't they
building
on
these-
this?
Yeah.
AIs that could learn all these games. I can put it in my real sex doll so that we can get this going.
Yeah, the one that has all the tentacle arms.
Tentacle arm doll. Oh,
Hey,
that would
why
be.
don't you play solo, by the way? I like how you called me out. I was like, it's not like you're sitting there playing solo games all the time.
I don't tell people about it. It's a secret. I will play solo. I don't mind playing solo at all. I really don't. I like solo.
And why don't you?
Not enough time in the day to do all the things I want to do. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
That's true.
Yeah, and then
I don't have the energy levels to do all the things I want to do.
Hmm.
I often say that there's not enough hours in the day, but truth be told, I'm not actually utilizing those hours really anyway.
If at
That's
work
right.
they would make me work for the amount of time that I'm actually working, like they would like, okay, so during these 5 minutes you're not doing anything, so do whatever you want. I would get a
Yeah.
shit ton of stuff done. There's a lot of time at work where I'm not doing a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then other times where I'm completely busy. But on the time, if they would give me that time as my own and still pay me
Yeah.
for it, of course. Of course, they need to pay me for it. But then
Yeah.
I can do my own thing. Yeah, I get so much done. Like,
Right. That's actually a really good point. Like, that's one of the awful things about jobs is when you're not busy, you can't do something else. It's like, it's so weird. You just have to,
yeah, we're
look busy.
paying.
Just look busy.
Basically, I'm paying you not to do what you like to do. So
Yeah.
don't do stuff that makes you happy. Do
Right.
stuff that makes you unhappy, and we'll be okay with it. Because I don't want
Right.
to see
But
you
even
smile
though,
while I pay you.
even if there were like, if there was evidence, which I'm pretty sure there is evidence of, like, if you're not just resting and like, pretending to be busy and you're just daydreaming, if you're actually doing something, like if you were playing a board game in that time, you'd actually like your brain
Be
would be
more
powered on
productive.
still, and you'd be
Yeah.
more productive as a result because you wouldn't be like, whatever, sluggish after that. So
Yeah, but it's that 4 day, 10-hour day problem. Okay, like ideally, they find that people who work 4 days are more productive than people who work 5 days. So if you're working 4 days and you're productive, then they say, well, why don't we just add another day? You'll be more productive again. And
yeah,
it doesn't really work that way. So,
yeah,
yeah. They,
yeah.
the
I
man
was-
always tries to keep you down.
That's right. Hours just get longer and longer and longer, and no one's doing more.
Right. And they always stand to reason that, if you can do it in 4, imagine what you can do in 5. It doesn't really break out that way.
Yeah. I
So,
kind of do have an inkling to play Age of Steam solo now, but
well, remember we
I
were
probably
playing it,
won't.
and that one guy had the other rules, so his score was completely different.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did it wrong or something, didn't I?
No, there was two. There's two sets
Oh,
of rules for the same map, and his set
okay.
did like his set of rules was much easier to make money, and the set of rules that I was doing was much different
Right.
by the same guy.
Yeah.
So I'm down to play solo. I guess I don't need your approval. I'm playing alone.
Apparently you like playing solo, so I don't know
Yeah,
why
I
you
do.
don't.
I
You
just don't
should.
have enough time. I just don't have enough time.
Yeah, you do squeeze a lot of stuff out of the day. I wish I had that. I'm just a procrastinator. How do you not procrastinate?
Well, the other day when I was doing the artwork for those cards, I had to do it at work, and
Oh, you did
uh,
do it work.
yeah, I had to do it
Mister,
at work.
I'm not allowed to do the things that I'm
Well,
like
I
want
had
to
to look
do.
over my shoulder, and it
Oh
was not fun.
no,
Yeah, I was cheating big
that's
time.
naughty.
Yeah,
Anyway, you did it. You didn't get
yeah.
fired.
I
Yeah.
didn't get fired. I didn't get done either, but I got a lot done. But yeah, I need more. I need to take my laptop up there and just do more of my stuff. But never
Hmm.
know if I'm going to get a chance to or not.
Yeah.
How that's going to work out.
Yeah. That's cool. It's cool being able to do that. All right. Well, maybe we can do Age of Steam, and we can set up a camera thing.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
We can do a double we can make it competitive by like the first one to finish. We can make it a race. Age
A
of Steam
race.
race. Yeah.
Age of Steam race. I'm not doing anything
You're
in
like,
time.
I don't want. I'm not down to that.
Yeah, you're all alone.
I'm gonna
For
make it go for 20 minutes only because I want to get I want to have a deep game for 20 minutes.
Get really into it. Stop. That's 20 minutes. Did you have fun?
Stop.
Did you have fun?
All right.
All
So,
right.
is the worst thing in a board game for you when you feel like you can't do anything? Like if you have a turn and you can't do anything, there's nothing you can do for whatever reason. Are you shitty at that point?
Like, is it only one turn, or for the rest of the game I'm fucked?
No. Just that turn. Like there
Mhm.
might be a thing you can do to like get stuff back or whatever, but that turn for whatever reason, the way things have lined up, you can't do anything. Like
Yep.
let's say sometimes it happens in like the last turn of the game, right? Some
Yep.
games in the last turn of the game, you
There's
might not have
nothing.
enough resources or money or something to do
Can't do anything.
anything, and you're just like, I can't do anything, so that's it. Do
Mm.
you get shitty?
No. I'm fine with it. I don't really care.
You don't find that deeply unsatisfying?
I mean, if it's several turns of that, maybe, but I don't mind it. I'm very tolerant of games that do weird shit,
Mm-hmm.
and so I feel like I'm doing the board game, like the board game community, a service by being okay with this game not doing anything in a round
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Right.
Kind of like solo. I feel like whenever I play solo, I feel like I'm doing the community a service. I'm doing my community
Why?
service.
Why?
I don't know.
How
I
is
just feel like that. I feel like I'm contributing to the I'm researching the game. I'm doing something for the community. I don't know why I feel that way. I always just feel that
Do
way.
you share any of it online? Do you say, I played this solo and this is how I feel about it
No.
on BGG?
No,
Right,
I
so
just tell
how
my
are you
friends. I
contributing?
tell my friends.
How are you contributing?
I'm being a productive
That's
part
so
of the board
funny.
game society. I don't know. I really don't. I
That
don't
is
know why I feel like
hilarious.
that. Yeah, but I do feel like that.
Maybe it's just because it's like, oh, I'm doing research.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm a designer doing research here,
Yeah.
putting in my hours. That's
Yeah,
so
I'm putting
funny.
it in my hours, but that's how
That
I feel.
makes me laugh. Especially because it's just solo. You're only doing it for yourself.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
know.
I'm doing everyone a favor right now.
Yeah. I'm giving everybody my time. My precious time.
Oh, that is really funny. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get
Yeah.
that at all. I just feel like I'm doing myself a disservice because there's all this other stuff I should be doing instead.
They call that selfish. You're being
Yeah.
selfish.
I'm being selfish.
And I'm giving to the community. Just giving.
No, the reason why I asked you that question is because when I was like doing a playtest, I was doing a playtest with Batal, and like I had a turn like that, and he was like, "Oh no, I don't like that. I do not like that."
Oh, well, that's different. As a designer, you definitely try not to do that, but
Right.
it's not a complete deterrent.
Why do
For
you try
me,
not to do that though? Like, what if it was totally my fault, and I'm just really like I hadn't been planning properly? What if I just hadn't been planning properly in the game, and I deserve to not be able to do anything?
well, you probably deserve not to be doing anything. I agree with that. But like, okay, so if you're selling a mass market game, you don't like games are about decisions, and you should
Mm.
always have decisions. There should always be decisions. There should always be this.
Yeah.
Uh, each game, each round, you have opportunities, and you need to turn those opportunities into something.
Yeah.
So if you have rounds where you don't, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
there, that means that at some point the decision tree broke down. I mean,
Mm.
that's the only way I can put it. Like you went on this opposite branch. You did something where the game didn't give you more decisions, even if they're
Mm.
bad decisions, even if they're decisions that just perceive like if they mean something. Because a lot of games actually give you little shitty decisions that don't really add up to a whole lot. They're the
Right.
same bullshit,
Yeah.
Like,
So is that when you put in something like, oh, if you can't do anything, just get one rice. Like I think that's the rule in Edo, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Or something,
something like that. I
something like
think
that.
uh, if you do have rounds like that, it's a very conscious decision to keep it in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's funny you bring that up because, like, in the cost, if you don't have anything, like the game automates itself at some point, it like here are the things that go off. There's
Yeah.
rounds where people don't do anything,
Yeah.
and
But
that's
they
the
could
invest stuff,
invest.
right?
Yeah.
If they have the money, let's say they have no money and they're
Right.
fucked and they don't have anything going off, and they made bad decisions, like they decided to get mills at the very beginning, and nobody's gonna use their mills. They need their own
Right.
mines, so they're fucked and they're just sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah.
Then it was just a decision. We had to say that it was okay. It's fine. But it's not a
Right.
popular decision. And if we were selling to more than 1,000 people, we probably would have changed that decision. So, but since it's a niche game, we're like, well, it's okay. It's good.
Oh, really? So you
Yeah.
didn't put it in as like this might be actually kind of cool, like if you wanted to purposefully not get resources and not do much and just
No, it was a
invest.
question. It's like, okay, so we made it. Here's how the game goes.
Mm.
Then, oh, there's going to be people who don't do anything. Well,
Mm.
what do? Well, then it's just got to be okay. It's just the way the game works.
So I taught when I taught Deaf and Jules, that was one thing that they actually got because they had stuff to do and they
Hmm.
didn't get a chance to invest.
Uh huh. They got
And then
upset because they couldn't
they
invest.
got upset. They got upset.
Right. And that's like the whole thing of the game is that you have to, if you have money, you have to, make it where you're not working.
Right.
You're
So
either
you got to
in the
make that
field
strategic.
doing something or you need to go invest.
Yeah, kind of both. Can't have your
Can't
cake and
have
eat it
both.
too.
Right. And modern games are not done that way. Modern games are like everybody needs to be able to do both things because they're fun
Yeah.
to do.
Because they're fun to do, but also isn't it mostly because if someone else is getting to do it, I want to do it? Isn't it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that?
There's some of
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, and that was something that was interesting about what we were doing. We were saying like, this is to help that. Like this part helps that part, but if you're doing that other part really well, then you're like, if you have the same old truck and it's working just fine, you don't just upgrade a truck unless you're just an American and you just want to spend money. But like you just keep using the truck until it's not usable. Like if you have
Yeah.
like the way the cotton industry, these old gins that gin cotton, they're old. They've been around forever. There's new technology, but if the old one still works, there's not enough of a profit change to fix it,
Mm.
even though there's more technology. But if you're building a new one, well, obviously you're using the new technology.
Yeah.
So it was kind of that idea that, why fix something that's already working?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's an interesting thing to think about in terms of like, do we all just need to be spoon-fed these things, because like, can we just not have a turn where we go, oh, I made a boo-boo and now I can't do anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
Well,
that
there's
the
a lot of
ultimate
that.
gamer no?
That's like a pretty big one. I think I always hear, hey, I want to play board games so that I can have fun out of a hard day's work. And for a lot of people, that they just want to do stuff. They just want to do stuff every turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so we've gone over an hour.
Have we? Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
we're at
good. Well, that's
105.
good,
So
because there was a dip there, so that means it must be I'm out of juice. I'm out of
no,
juice.
there's more juice, but let's just save it for next time.
Save it for next time. All right, cool.
All right, cool. Well, I guess we'll turn this off. It was a lot of fun. Let's see if I can figure out how to turn this damn thing off.